At 93, Angie Dickinson has finally opened up about Robert Redford, sharing memories that have been locked away for decades. Born Angeline Brown on September 30th, 1931, in Culm, North Dakota, Angie rose from modest roots in a tiny Midwestern town to become one of Hollywood's most captivating and versatile leading ladies. Her early years were far from the glitz of Tinseltown. She was the daughter of Frederica and Leo Henry Brown, of German descent, growing up during the Great Depression, which forged her fierce work ethic and relentless drive that would shape her storied career. After moving with her family to Burbank, California, she studied at Immaculate Heart College and later Glendale College, where her striking beauty, sharp wit, and quiet intelligence made her stand out. Initially, she dreamed of writing or working behind the camera, but destiny pulled her toward the spotlight. Her acting career kicked off almost by accident when she entered a beauty pageant in the early 1950s, catching the eye of casting directors. With her sultry voice, magnetic presence, and undeniable charm, she quickly landed small roles on TV and in films. Angie hustled hard in her early days, popping up in popular anthology shows and westerns, and by the mid-1950s, she was sharing the screen with Hollywood's heavyweights, soaking up experience and building confidence. Her big break came in 1959 with Howard Hawks' western gem Rio Bravo, starring alongside John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson. Angie's portrayal of Feathers, a tough yet tender saloon girl, turned her into a household name and showed she could hold her own against the era's biggest male stars. Through the 1960s, Angie Dickinson became one of Hollywood's most in-demand actresses, with a knack for jumping between genres, westerns, crime thrillers, dramas, and swoony romances, with ease. Her performances blended poise with raw emotional depth, earning praise for their nuance. Standout roles included Ocean's 11 in 1960 with Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, plus a string of high-octane thrillers and dramas that highlighted her ability to bring sophistication and grit to every part. Beyond acting, Angie became a symbol of Hollywood glamour, gracing magazine covers and dazzling at red carpet events, cementing her status as both a movie star and a style icon. The 1960s and 1970s were the peak of her career. She was a fixture in film and TV, rubbing shoulders with the era's biggest names. Her role in Ocean's 11 introduced her to a massive audience, proving she could shine among Hollywood's elite. Other notable gigs included The Killers in 1964, Point Blank in 1967, and Big Bad Mama in 1974, where she embraced bold, boundary-pushing roles that defied the limits placed on women in film at the time. Her versatility let her glide between westerns, crime dramas, and comedies while keeping her unique spark. Her career soared to new heights in the 1970s with the groundbreaking role of Sergeant Suzanne Pepper Anderson in Policewoman, airing from 1974 to 1978. This role was a game-changer, thrusting a female lead into the male-dominated world of cop dramas. Angie's Pepper was glamorous yet tough, blending beauty with brains and bravery, and it struck a chord with viewers. The show earned her critical acclaim, Golden Globe wins, and nominations, and it paved the way for more women-led TV series. It also made her a role model for countless women who admired her strength and independence. Even after Policewoman, Angie kept working steadily in film and TV, proving she could outlast an industry that often favored youth. She took on meaty roles like in Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill in 1980, playing a lonely housewife with a raw vulnerability that showcased her dramatic range. Through the 1980s and 1990s, she stayed active, choosing parts that challenged her and reflected her growth as both an actress and a person. Angie Dickinson's personal life, much like her career, was a tapestry of triumphs and trials that shaped her into the extraordinary woman she became. Her first marriage was to Jean Dickinson in 1952, a talented college football player known for his athletic prowess and discipline, embodying the 1950s All-American ideal. After retiring from sports, Gene moved into the booming electronics industry. Their marriage lasted officially until 1960, though they parted ways in 1956. Despite the split, Angie kept his last name, a choice that gave her a distinctive professional identity and helped her stand out in Hollywood, where a recognizable name could make or break a career. During her marriage to Gene, Angie forged deep friendships with influential figures, including economist John Kenneth Galbraith and his wife, Catherine. The Galbraiths, part of an intellectual and diplomatic elite, opened Angie's eyes to a world beyond Hollywood's flash. Their conversations about politics, economics, and culture expanded her perspective, and when Galbraith was named U.S. Ambassador to India by President John F. Kennedy, Angie visited them abroad. Her time touring with them in India left such an impression that Galbraith mentioned her in his memoirs, Ambassador's Journal and A Life in Our Times, a testament to their close bond and Angie's unique place among thinkers and influencers outside showbiz. In 1965, Angie began a new chapter by marrying world-famous composer Burt Bacharach, a musical genius known for his sophisticated pop melodies. Together, they were a dazzling Hollywood power couple, blending her star power with his musical brilliance. Their 16-year marriage was long by Hollywood standards, but had its complexities, including a period of separation where both explored other relationships before briefly reconciling. The birth of their daughter, Nikki, on July 12, 1966, was a defining moment. Nikki was diagnosed with autism at a young age, a condition poorly understood at the time, and Angie and Burt poured their hearts into caring for her, reshaping their lives and careers to give her the best support possible. Tragically, Nikki died by suicide on January 4, 2007, at 40, a devastating loss that deeply affected Angie, who had been a fierce advocate for her daughter, working tirelessly to ensure her quality of life despite the challenges. Burt Bacharach lived a remarkable life, composing and performing until his death in 2023 at 94, leaving a legacy that touched millions. Angie's marriages to Gene Dickinson and Burt Bacharach, along with her role as Nikki's mother, were among the most shaping parts of her personal journey, filled with love, loss, and resilience. At 93, having lived through nearly a century of Hollywood's highs and lows, Angie Dickinson has finally shared her thoughts on Robert Redford after his passing. On September 16, 2025, Robert Redford, the iconic actor, director, and Sundance Film Festival founder, passed away peacefully in his sleep at his Sundance, Utah, home at 89. The news shook the entertainment world, stirring memories of his incredible career and lasting impact. For Angie, the loss hit personally in ways few understood. She and Redford crossed paths often over the years, as colleagues and friends who respected each other from afar. When asked about Redford's death, Angie paused, her voice steady but heavy with memory. "Robert was one of a kind in Hollywood," she said. "Sure, he was drop-dead gorgeous. Everyone saw that. But he had this rare integrity, something you don't always find in this town. He did things his way, never letting studios or the press twist him into someone he wasn't." For Angie, who fought for meaningful roles in an industry that often boxed women into stereotypes, Redford's independence was inspiring. She recalled their early meetings in the 1960s, when both were rising stars. "I remember him as this young, almost reserved guy," she said. "He wasn't yet the Robert Redford everyone would know, but you could feel this spark in him. You just knew he was headed for greatness." Angie, already making waves in TV and film, found his humility refreshing. He never acted arrogant, despite knowing the attention his looks and charm drew. She didn't shy away from the challenges of being a woman in Hollywood alongside men like Redford. "Let's be real," she admitted. "It could be frustrating. Robert got chances women just didn't back then. He could play rugged, romantic, political, whatever, and people took him seriously every time. For us, it was a harder fight for respect. But Robert always treated the women he worked with as equals. He didn't see us as props. He listened, and that mattered. She spoke warmly of his activism and work beyond acting, especially with environmental causes and the Sundance Institute. Robert wasn't just about movies, she said. He wanted to make a difference, even a small one. Sundance gave so many young filmmakers a shot when big studios wouldn't even glance their way. That was his legacy, as much as any film he starred in. Pausing, she added softly, "That kind of generosity, that vision, I'll always admire it." When asked if she and Redford were ever more than friends, Angie flashed her signature sly smile. "Everyone always wants the juicy stuff," she laughed. Robert was the kind of guy women couldn't help but fall for, and I wasn't immune. But no, we never had a romance. We respected each other, enjoyed each other's company, and that was enough. Maybe that's why we stayed connected so long. No baggage, just mutual respect. Still, she acknowledged Redford's magnetic charm. He had this mix of boyish energy and quiet strength that was impossible to resist, she said. Even in his later years, with lines on his face, that twinkle in his eyes never faded. He could make you feel like you were the only one in the room, a rare gift. On his passing, Angie grew quiet, her words soft but heartfelt. "It hurts to know he's gone, but there's peace in knowing he left this world and the home he built in Sundance, his sanctuary. That's how he'd have wanted it." She added, "I'll miss him deeply, but I carry the lessons of his life with me. That you can be successful and still be kind, famous and still private, and chase your dreams without losing your roots." For Angie Dickinson, Robert Redford was more than a Hollywood giant. He was a friend, an inspiration, and a symbol of the authenticity she always valued. At 93, reflecting on a lifetime of memories, she wrapped up with one final thought. Robert was the real deal. They don't make him like him anymore.